Hello, one and all. This is my view of My Hero Academia, Chapter 363, Invaders and Protectors. And we have finally seen the true face of evil. And it is, it's a face. Huzzah! I think one of the best things about All For One, this entire series, has been that, he literally didn't have a face. He was the face of evil while being faceless, and this made it so much easier to see him as an inhuman, horrible monster with no soul, with no consciousness. But now we see him as, the true man he is. And he is still just as freaking evil. Seriously. His plan is honestly kind of brilliant, but still so overwhelmingly evil. Because, as best I can tell, he's going to murder every last person who evacuated into UA. And, like I said, evil but smart, because these are people who still have the most faith in hero society, the most faith in heroes, believing that if, they were under the hero's protection, they would be safe. And so killing all of them not only gets rid of the people who still believed in hero society, but also sends a message to everyone else saying the heroes can't protect you anymore. The heroes can't keep you safe, even if you're under their watch. So, yeah, that's dark. That is really overwhelmingly dark. And there's the question of, what's going to happen next? Because Skeptic is still around. Surprise, surprise. Turns out you can't actually lock him out of a system that he freaking built. Duh! Seriously, they really should have seen that coming. And it seems like he's able to freely move all of the sections of UA to different places. And I guess the question just is, okay, but where is he actually moving them? First thought is, okay, he's going to crash this thing, into a rock wall, into the ground as hard and as fast as he can. That would certainly, get the job done, but he could also just, move it to a place where there's a bunch of villains waiting to kill everyone inside the city. And we have the spies here as well. The girl doesn't look all that bothered, but the guy, he looks concerned. Or, terrified. He might have just gotten the call, yeah, sorry to tell you this, but we're going to kill you right now. Or maybe he was told, okay, now you need to go around and kill everybody around you. I feel like you need, something more than just these two, no matter how powerful their quirks might be to actually, kill everyone in this section. Curious about that. Also just wondering what's going to happen next. If they are, okay, let's say they're Nomu with incredibly powerful quirks who are actually able to, kill a lot of people all at once, who's actually going to fight back against them? A big theme this whole arc essentially been anybody can be a hero. We saw that just a few chapters back when the, the business department of UA was literally filming, the battlefield and everything because that was their way of contributing to the war, of showing the world, this is what happened, this is how we fought, and this is how we won, in order to convince future generations that yes, heroes are actually good, heroes are actually worth supporting. And now we can see the same thing here of, the common citizens stepping up and using their quirks to fight back against the villains. Oh, I would love to see that. Shoto's whole family is here, and while they were considered failures, they still, inherited, I think, their mother's quirk, or I guess the sister inherited the mother's quirk, and the brother inherited the father's quirk. His name is Natsu. Pretty sure that means fire, so while they might not have, been at the same level of Shoto or Dabi, I still feel like Endeavor would have made sure, they got the most basic self-defense training, especially after Natsu was nearly killed by, what was his name, Dead End a few dozen chapters ago? So yeah, seeing them step up and fight would be amazing. And actually, let's not forget Shoto's mother. She is, a severely broken woman, but at one point Endeavor realized she has the exact quirk I need to create the perfect child, which seems to imply not only does she have an ice quirk, but that it is incredibly powerful, so oh, that'd be amazing. That'd be so amazing seeing Mama Shoto step up and kicking everybody's butts. But we also have the students that Bako and Shoto helped tutor for their licensing exam, and they had some pretty powerful quirks. Oh, I would love to see that. Them just stepping up and taking down all the villains by themselves. Alongside with Mama Shoto and, what the heck, all the parents, all the UA parents stepping up and being heroes in their own way. That would be so abso-freaking-lutely amazing, and I would love to see that. But anyway, though, back to start this chapter, it certainly looks like Bakugo is dead. I mean, Best Jeanist says there's no pulse, which I'm like, okay, you know what, Bakugo has nitroglycerin coursing through his veins. I'm sure he's fine. I'm sure he's, just slow his heart rate down so much that Best Jeanist can't feel a pulse. And then he said his heart is ripped to shreds, which, yeah, not gonna lie, I had a much, much harder time explaining that one away. I mean, maybe Best Jeanist is lying so that, Shigaraki will stop trying to, attack Bakugo and focus on the others. This give Bakugo a chance to recover and heal, but that seems unlikely. Other scenario is we have, Eri or Overhaul popping up, and they're able to, patch the heart back together again, and, then find a way to get the blood pumping, and then, huzzah! Bakugo is alive! But, his heart is not pumping. His brain is essentially, being deprived of oxygen right now, which is going to cause a lot of damage, and I'm not even sure if Eri can, fix someone who is actually, brain dead, because that would, take her from being OP to being essentially a god. And Shigaraki just really needs to take a minute to bask in the celebration of having murdered a child. Yes, Shigaraki, that was very impressive. Good for you. I freaking hate you and I want you to die. Though he does bring up some actually very terrifying points about how they put, such a heavy burden on the shoulder of a child. Because so many pro heroes, they couldn't handle the pressure, they couldn't handle being hated, and they all ended up quitting and retiring, and as a result, there's far fewer heroes to face off against Shigaraki than they really need in order to win this battle. Thankfully, though, they still have Mirko, who is very, very angry about Bakugo being killed. I am still a hardcore Bakugo and Mirko shipper, regardless of the age difference and the fact that he is probably sorta dead. And, she is literally tearing Shigaraki's creepy little hands apart with her teeth, which, terrifying, utterly, utterly terrifying. And of course, she's also mad at herself not being able to properly take Shigaraki down back then. I mean, she got close. She got really freaking close, but sorry girl, no dice, and as a result, Bakugo has died. And in more depressing news, Dabi is still alive! And he burned the sidekick to death, which, very sad. I'm sorry you died, dude, even though I have no idea what your name is. And as he explains, he managed to copy Shoto's technique, which is interesting. I'm honestly still unclear about what exactly Shoto's technique was. He described it as, using the heart, which is the sorcerer's power. As best I can understand it, that means that Dabi is essentially circulating the heat, the fire, through his very veins, using his heart to basically pump the fire to every part of his body all at once, and that's making him, way more powerful. Even though all of his skin is gone, you can see his muscles, and even some of his creepy little bones. Yeah, seriously, this dude should not be alive. This dude 100% should not be alive. Though as Shoto points out, Dabi, was able to master the technique so quickly because Dabi has always had an incredible battle sense. Even though Endeavor basically stopped training him when he was like 5 or 6, he trained by himself and was able to obtain an incredible amount of power in a very short amount of time. And it's quite concerning that even though, Shoto is still in front of him, he hasn't actually killed him yet, all Dabi wants to do is go see Endeavor. I mean, has he realized, okay, I think I'm dying, and decided, he wants to spend his last minutes screaming at his father, trying to take out his father, or wants to, somehow find a way to kill Shoto in front of his father? That would make some sense. Again, I really just have to ask this question, what exactly is Ida doing here? Like, both in a, long-term narrative sense and also just in a planning sense, because, they decided, okay, we're gonna fight Dabi. Let's bring Ida, the dude whose engines overheat if they get too hot, to fight off against a dude who is really freaking hot. Bad planning, very bad planning on their part. But he needs to actually do something from a narrative point of view, so what is that gonna be? My best guess right now is that Dabi is going to run away, fly away as quickly and fast as he can, and try to get to, Endeavor to fight him or do something with him. And that's going to mean, that Ida is going to have to basically carry Shoto all the way to Endeavor. that would make some sense, I think. Still not sure about that. Anyway though, then the chapter ends with All For One's face being restored, which so utterly terrifying. This means he is back in his, pre-fight with All Might state. This is the form that not even All Might could kill. Not even All Might could take this man down. And, oh god, that's actually, I'm thinking about it, really poignant for Endeavor. He's facing off against someone who is the equal of All Might, and overcoming him would mean that he has, basically overcome All Might himself. Oh, I like that. I really like that, but I don't think that's going to work all that well for him. I'm 99% sure he's going to get his butt completely and utterly kicked here. And I do actually have kind of an insane theory right here, because if All For One is actually using Ares' quirk to rewind himself back into his prime form, I don't think he's actually going to be able to control that power. Because, Ares can't even control the power. It's just, just starting to barely be able to control the power. And she's had it for years. Well, All For One, I'm pretty sure this is the first time he's ever done it. And he doesn't even have, her full quirk. He basically absorbed this from, a piece of her skin that was used to make the quirk-killing bullet. So, no way he's mastered this technique. Which means, as far as I can tell, I think he's going to keep rewinding further and further back in time. And if so, this could be very interesting, because I've had a theory for a very long time that All For One wasn't always evil. I think at one point he was a good person, but his quirk turned him evil. Or more accurately, eating other people's quirks turned him evil. Because a quirk is, basically a soul. And if you eat another person's soul, or let's say a couple dozen souls, all of those souls will be, in your body, going crazy, going haywire, causing static, causing anger, causing a whole range of emotions that you can't properly control. And after a while, it'll break you. Your core being will be so degraded and damaged that you lose your sense of, empathy entirely. So I think, All For One started out as a pretty normal, pretty good guy, but eating those souls slowly degraded him until he became the monster he is today. And therefore, if Ares' quirk keeps reminding him back to a younger and younger state, he'll eventually reach a point where he was a good person, where he was a kind person, and he'll think back to all the things he's done, and it will destroy him. Which means we could theoretically have the final fight of this series be All For One and Deku teaming up to fight freaking Shigaraki. Which would be, so utterly insane, but it would also make, quite a bit of sense. All For One and One For All teaming up to face off against the corrupted, evil All For One that's a result of all the devouring quirks over and over again. Oh, I'd love to see that. I would absolutely love to see it. It'd be insane. It'd be bonkers. The fans would probably hate it, but I would love to see that. But yeah, let me know what you think about all this down below. What's going to happen now that, All For One's reverted to his young form? Is he going to keep reverting until he eventually, de-ages back into dust? What's the plan for UA? Are the spies actually going to start killing people, or do they have something bigger planned? What's going on with Dabi? He really wants to go fight off against Endeavor right now, even though he is, very, very close to death. And is Baku actually dead? Seriously, after last chapter, everyone was saying, oh, next chapter we'll find out. Next chapter we'll get a clear answer. And the answer we got was he has no pulse, and his heart has been ripped to shreds. That feels pretty conclusive, but this is a manga, so he could still come back somehow, some way. But anyway, be sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss my next video. And until then, peace!